Welcome to the Your Next Level podcast. I'm your host, Insaaf. Join me every Monday for a new episode where we talk career, manifestation, money, relationships, and so much more. Join us as we show you how to get from where you're at to your next level. You can expect a new episode every single Monday. Welcome to Your Next Level with Insaaf Daniels. What is up, guys? Welcome back to a new podcast episode. We have a different setup today. Today is more chilled, more cozy setup. So today, let's just first catch up. So firstly, as you may know, I was in Sun City last weekend. I was at this place called Lost City, or the Lost City Palace. It was incredible. We were there for the water bike challenge. It was a charity event with the Princess of Monaco, Charlene. It was such an incredible event. Number one, the charity really aims to help kids learn how to swim, and part of the charity event was doing the water bike challenge, which was intense. It's like really like cycling on the water. It's difficult to explain, so I'd highly suggest that you Google it if you want to know what that looks like. And it was for the company that I work for, and we stayed in this place called the Palace in Sun City. It was beautiful. It was my first time to stay in Sun City and then to stay at the Palace on top of it. I think that would just ruined like any other Sun City experience I'm going to have, because the Palace was incredible. It was everything that one could imagine in terms of like your bed is extra large, your bathroom is beautiful, your taps are gold. The place itself has like the most beautiful detail, walls, sculptures, the service. Like you cannot even have a glass in your hand that is empty. Someone will come and collect it for you. The food was phenomenal. The breakfast was like nothing I've ever experienced. Just talking about it is making me hungry. Everything was phenomenal. The princess, when I saw her, Princess Charlene, she was so beautiful and effortless. The weird thing is that I think because I've never seen a real life princess, and movies had shown me that when a princess announces herself, you expect this big like entrance, and it wasn't like that with her. And she was wearing a white pants, and at one point at least she was wearing a white pants and a black top, and for some reason my brain just expected like something different. So it was really cool to see her just be human and be like a human with everything else that she has going on in her life. I think that the work that she's doing is phenomenal. Anyway, so I only got to, because it was a work event, so I only really got to spend, I think, 1 hour kind of by myself at the Valley of the Waves. And so we were there from like the Friday we arrived, and we went with the people that I went with work. We went to go chill at the pool, which is nice. And then we had the event, which is like a dinner in the evening, and that's also where they shared like who is going to be on your team. So each team had like 3 riders, and then you also got like 2 celebrities, and they were really cool celebrities. It was really the OG celebrities, the ones that were there before Instagram, like the Liane Liebenberg, Rick Nietling. There were some Olympic athletes, swimmers as well that was on our team. A DJ, Roxy Lowe, I think his name is, she was on our team as well. So it was really, really cool to witness those people. When I say those people, it's just been celebrities participate in it as well. And in like doing the water bike challenge, what I had seen was that it didn't matter like what your status was. Of course, yes, if you have more experience doing like water bike challenges or more fitness, then that definitely elevates you. But from what I saw, the challenge was so intense that everyone's like on the same level. So yeah, so that was a catch up on the past weekend. And what also happened or has happened was that, so in September, the beginning of September, I hosted a goal setting workshop, which was so much fun. And this goal setting process that I took the ladies through was the exact process that I had done 5 years ago. So what we did in the goal setting process was in the workshop, firstly, we worked through limiting beliefs. What are the limiting beliefs that has been holding people back? Then we set goals. So we set like 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year goals. And in terms of personal, professional, and financial. So that's how I set goals. And then thereafter, we did a visualization session, visualizing your higher self, which again was so, so much fun. And then we also did a tapping session at the end. So EFT tapping, EFT is emotional freedom technique. It is a process that where you tap on like various meridian points in your body while speaking out like possibly the negativity or emotional experiences that you are having on a specific topic. So first tapping out the negative and then going into the positive, because you have to work through the negative things about something before you can go into a positive. And while you tap on those different meridian points, it's a form of release, and it really helps reprogram your subconscious as well to go into those new beliefs. So we did that at the end. And from that session, we had decided to continue teaching or continue doing tapping sessions every single Sunday. So that's what I do every single Sunday with the ladies. We do it on a Zoom call. It went from about like 30 minutes to, I would say, maybe 30 to 45, maximum an hour session, depending on how many people we have in the session. And we've literally done that every single Sunday for September. And it's just been like the best thing. It's the thing that I look forward to every single Sunday. And it's like the reason to get out of bed on a Sunday instead of sleeping late. And it really just energizes you. It makes you feel so much more like incredible because you're working through things that may be stuck like on your brain. They may be stuck in your head and could manifest in your body. But instead of it doing that, we're working through it and then, coming back to number one, our true selves, and then number two, our higher selves as well. So we do that every single Sunday at 10 o'clock on Zoom. If you want in on that, then you can definitely send me a DM on Instagram. Let me know that you want in, and then we can add you to it. It is incredible. Yeah. So what I wanted to chat about is like what I learned from being at Sun City and the water bike challenge and the celebrities, seeing those people and stuff. What I really realized is that what do you think your potential is maybe just as far as what you can visualize right now. But what is possible is even beyond that. Like we cannot at this moment visualize our truest potential. So if you had visualized your future, if you had set your goals, like times that by 10 is what is actually possible for you. That's what I realized for myself, because when I was seeing like all of the people at this event, be it celebrities or not, business people, the things that I was chatting to them about, what either one they had accomplished or two they're working on, and the impact that they are having in the world was just opened myself up. And the best thing in terms of like comparison, I know the best thing in terms of comparison, the word comparison, I just feel like has such a negative connotation to it. However, you can be comparing in a positive way, and that I would usually refer to as benchmarking. And the way I see it is like when I meet people and they have achieved something, and usually why we are attracted to most people is because there is something in them that we see in ourselves as well, the possibility maybe. And when I was chatting to those people and I understood like what it is that they're doing for the world, what they're building, what they've accomplished, just made me realize, wow, if it was possible for them, then of course it is possible for me as well. And that experience made me realize how limitless I actually am. And that's why I wanted to record this episode today, to let you know that you are way, way limitless than what you think. The possibilities that are there for you, like you have not even discovered it. If you close your eyes and you visualize like where you are in the next 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, like 5 years, like your life could changed dramatically in 5 years. If you think about like 5 years ago, where were you 5 years ago? Like, how old were you? What were you doing in your life? And then if you think about where you are now, I'm sure even without you making any effort, like you have achieved so much, you have experienced so much. So imagine the next 5 years, imagine that possibility. And that's why when we do set goals and when you do visualizations in where you're at, I highly suggest that one doesn't set realistic goals, because when you set realistic goals, it's like the obvious next step, the obvious next thing that you should be achieving. And that is, I believe, is good. It's okay. Like when you achieve that, you should definitely celebrate it. It is amazing. However, what if you set an even bigger goal? What if you set like a goal that was seen as like you being delusional? And what if you actually achieve that goal instead? Like, what if you are the person that went for it anyway? What if you were the person that made it happen? What if you were the person that went after his or her desires? Like, what would that look like? What would your life look like then? What if your life looked like the person that actually went to go buy a jet? What if like whatever car you initially thought you were going to buy, what if you like instead of putting that car, you actually that realistic car, you actually put in like your ultimate dream car? What if you did that? So for example, before the Mercedes that I have now, which was my dream car, I was driving a VW Bug. If you know me, you know what that car looked like. It was a 2000 or 2002 model, a VW Bug. It was yellow. It was like my mom used to say, it's like driving Miss Daisy's car, basically. And then when I upgraded from this yellow, cute teenage car to this like sporty Mercedes like car that no one thought I was going to arrive with. Okay, everyone that was upgrading cars were upgrading with realistic cars that made sense, like maybe Mini Coopers or Renaults, or like, which is also awesome. Like I said, it is cool. Like you have to do what you desire. And my realistic next step after the VW Bug was to either get a VW Polo or was to get like a Renault, I think it was, or like a Ford Focus. That was like what was in fashion at the time and what was like really realistic. But instead, my desire was to get this Mercedes Benz, because once upon a time I drove in this car and the way it made me feel like I was safe. It made me feel like I was taken care of, and it was luxury. And when I experienced that, I was like, I want to give this to myself. And then I rocked up with a Mercedes. So why? And that the reason why I'm sharing that with you is to show you the possibility, of actually going after your desire instead of the realistic next thing. Okay. You can set like, it takes the same amount of effort to set like a small goal and a big goal. So you might as well set the big goal. You might as well, like, why would you not want to do that? Why would you want to be the person that just sets like realistic goals and just like lives a realistic life? So if you don't make effort in your life, like you'll still grow, you'll still achieve things. But once you actually put in effort, once you actually sit and think about what would ultimately be possible for you, and once you write that down and then look at like, what would life look like to close that gap? I'm sure it's not as hectic as what you thought. Because if you look at 5 years ago, what it is that you have achieved from 5 years ago, you to now, I'm sure you did not think it was possible. I'm sure you didn't think that you would be where you are at. So write down those major goals that may scare you now. And that is completely okay, because if your goals don't scare you, they're not big enough, as cliche as that sounds. So for example, if you've been like running on a treadmill at speed 5 every single day for 30 minutes, and you do that and you continuously do that every single day of the week, Monday to Friday, every single day you're doing that. The next week, the next Monday, why would you want to continue on speed 5. Okay. What about speed 6? That's the next obvious step, right? The obvious next step is like to do on speed 6. But what if you just took a wild chance and put it on speed 7? What if you did that and see how it is that you can cope? Just for one day. You just try it like for that Monday, and even maybe for like 10 minutes running on speed 7 and see how it feels. You will never know if you don't set that for yourself. You'll never know if you don't envision that. You'll never know if you don't think about it. Everything you desire is possible, but you need to know what your desires are. There are a lot of people out there that it is so easy for them to say the things that they don't want in life. And when you ask them, like, oh, but what do you actually want? And then they don't know. So, of course, the things that they don't want to happen is continuously happening, but that's because they're focusing on those things. But imagine if you start focusing on your desires. Imagine if every single night before you go to bed, you just roughly write your goals down. You don't have to write it neatly. You don't have to write it like this beautiful sentence. You can just briefly write it down, and you go to sleep and you start like dreaming about it. And the next morning you wake up and you're thinking about it. Imagine how much more opportunities you'll attract when that is in your mind. And the opposite applies as well. And you know that the opposite applies because there was once when you were focusing on something negative and it came to reality. But we want you to start focusing on the positive things, on the things that you actually want in life so that it can become a reality. I want you to take quantum leaps in your life. And what that means is like going before you're ready. It's like instead of going from speed 5 to speed 6, going from speed 5 to speed 7, skipping some things in that obvious step. It is possible. I want you to try it. Once I wrote my goals down and I said that I would like to, and this time I set realistic goals because that's what I was taught, right? You have to set smart goals, and the R is for realistic. And I can't believe like that's really what we are taught in school and at university as well. And I set these smart goals, and I was like, I am going to like in year 1, I want to get this promotion to the realistic next level. And then in year 2, I'd like to get the promotion to the next level because I was realistic, right? What had happened was by year 1, I got year 1's promotion and year 2's promotion at the same time. So I basically skipped like a level. I got like 2 promotions in at the same time. If someone had told me that that was possible, I'd have been like, what? No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because surely my boss won't do that. It doesn't make sense because surely they won't increase my salary that high. It won't make sense because surely like that is not the step-by-step process that the company follows. But it happened anyway. It happened anyway. And yes, did it help that I set my goals? Definitely 100% because I knew where I was going to go. But that was the quantum shift that had happened. And the same like the quantum shift that had happened when I went from a VW Bug to a Mercedes Benz. I know I'm telling you materialistic things, yeah. But I know there are materialistic things that you want as well. There's growth that you want, and you can totally quantum shift. So I want you to open up the possibility to quantum shifting, to instead of achieving something in 5 years, see if you can half that time. See if you can visualize. A client was telling me that she would like to, in 5 years' time, so now she's starting to write a book now, but in 5 years from now, she would like to publish the book. And I was like, it's okay if you want to do that and it will be great. However, what if you can half that time? What if you can, between now and the end of next year, see what happens in the book? Just inviting the possibility. I'm not going to say who the client is because I didn't ask her for permission to share this, but inviting that possibility. Because when it comes to manifesting your desires, like time is not a construct. Time isn't. It's about following the aligned action. It's about knowing what the vision is for yourself and then taking the aligned action. And aligned action really means like, it's not the forced. It's maybe you are supposed to, you said, okay, I'm going to sit down now and I'm going to write out this chapter in this book. And you're sitting and nothing is coming. And you give yourself a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath and say, universe, God, Allah, what you feel comfortable with. What is my aligned next step? Allow yourself to be quiet. Whatever comes to you in the moment, you do that. It might not make sense. It might be go and walk your dog. It might be pack away your laundry. I would suggest you do that because it's in those moments that the idea is going to come. You might take your dog for a walk and that chapter might just start coming to your mind. You might see something and it might come into your mind. You might put on a podcast and someone mentions something and you're like, oh, this is juicy. Like, I need to add this in. The amount of programs that I have created while I was either on a walk or in the gym, like there was one, my signature course I created while I was on the treadmill. I was listening to a podcast. Someone said something. And I was like, okay. I stopped the podcast. I was walking on the treadmill and I just started typing on my notes, the notes app on my phone. I started typing all the chapters of this course that I wanted to put out there. Everything was in my head. But if I were going to sit down and be like, okay, I need to write the course now, what is it? It wasn't going to come. But I did what felt good to me. Feeling good. So knowing the vision, taking the aligned action that feels good. All right, that is it. Short and sweet episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you do prefer these like comfy, cozy sessions. All right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because I'm on video. Go and check the Next Level page out on YouTube. All right. I hope you have an incredible day. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.
Is it illegal to move on without you? Am I allowed to when I'm without you?